Officials are preparing for potential violence in the Capitol and nationwide after the leak of that Supreme Court draft opinion that would strike down Roe v. Wade after 50 years. Capitol Police are warning the far right is calling for violence against a religious group planning to rally for abortion rights. Whitney Wild is live outside the Supreme Court. Listen, seeing fences go up there, it's sort of like post-January 6th.
Here's the thing. Here's my feeling about the leaker. I would like to find out who the leaker is so I could make sweet love to that person, because that person is a hero to me. Okay?
Meanwhile,
Alright guys, so I had to play that clip from CNN once again because I believe that that clip will live on in history as one of the single greatest examples of the mainstream liberal media gaslighting the American people with a false narrative, claiming that we're going to see right-wing extremist violence because of Roe v. Wade being overturned by the Supreme Court. Okay, when in fact the people who are actually motivated to commit these types of acts of violence is not people on the far right. Okay, it's actually people on the far left. And that is what we're saying that is happening right now. Okay, now yesterday we talked about how a lot of these activists have shown up to the houses of Supreme Court justices in order to try to intimidate them into changing their decision. Okay, we talked about how they showed up to Justice Kavanaugh's house. They showed up to Justice John Roberts' house, even though John Roberts, I believe, is actually going to vote against overturning Roe v. Wade. But they showed up to his house, okay? And now they're going to show up to Neil Gorsuch's house. They're probably going to go to Clarence Thomas' house. They're probably going to go to Amy Coney Barrett's house. And it's almost like it's been advertised by the mainstream liberal media, okay? They're not condemning it. They're simply just, basically telling people, hey, guys, the protests are going to be here, okay? This is where they're going to show up, to this person's house. Almost as if, they support trying to intimidate judges into changing their opinions, which, I believe is illegal, right? But, again, the mainstream liberal media has shown us that they really don't care about the sovereignty and integrity of our institutions. They don't care about democracy. They don't care about right or wrong. They don't care about any of that stuff, right? Same with the Democrat Party. For all the, we care about democracy stuff, right? They seem to not care about it when their extremists are literally attacking democracy. Okay, so with that being said, nobody should be surprised to hear the story that I'm about to tell you guys, considering how the left has tolerated the extremism in their party, right, and the violence that has come with that. But before we get into that, I just want to let you guys know, if you like my channel, you want to support my channel, you can do so using the links in the description below. You support the Patreon, you support the PayPal, you support the merch. There are multiple ways to support the channel if you would like to do so. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this video clip that is going to tell us about a Wisconsin anti-abortion group, Wisconsin Family Action, their offices getting set on fire by pro-choice activist extremists on Mother's Day. Take a look.
Madison police say a Molotov cocktail was thrown into Wisconsin Family Action's Madison building. And the words, "If abortions aren't safe, then you aren't either," were painted outside. The organization is very vocal against abortions, but say they never thought those who oppose their views would take things this far. Wisconsin Family Action President Jelaine Appling doesn't feel safe at her office anymore.
We've done nothing to warrant this. Nothing to warrant a direct threat because of our position on life.
She worries about her pro-life friends as abortion uncertainty continues in Wisconsin.
I've got a team of 8 people. At any given time, we could have a very full office.
Appling didn't plan on being at the office Sunday, especially this Sunday.
How ironic, right? It's Mother's Day, when we celebrate the fact that our mothers gave us life. And here we are, with this kind of message and this kind of property destruction.
As for WFA's future,
I tell you one thing, I don't want to be bullied into a move. But I have the security of my team. That's my responsibility. I have to be concerned about that. So we're going to have to take a very, very close look at next steps. I'm not sure how secure we are right now.
Madison police say arson investigators are processing the evidence. In a statement today, MPD Chief Sean Barnes said, quote, "Our department has and continues to support people being able to speak freely and openly about their beliefs, but we feel that any acts of violence, including the destruction of property, do not aid in any cause," end quote. MPD plans to share more information tomorrow, and we will bring you the latest as we learn more. In the studio, Marcus Arsvold, NBC 15 News.
Yeah, so I want you guys to remember, according to CNN, a reliable news network, okay, Brian Seltzer says they're not biased at all. There's no bias. It's only an objective news source. According to Brian Seltzer, CNN says that incident right there most likely was far-right extremist violence. That is what CNN would say. That is what they tried to tell us. Okay, that's what they tried to tell us. Okay, again, I still can't believe to this day that they aired that segment. I really can't believe it. But anyways, isn't it a shame, guys? It is a shame that on Mother's Day, a day in which you're supposed to be celebrating the fact that your mother gave you life, okay, that they chose to follow through with giving you life, okay, that they didn't hit the eject button. These people, these extremists, these radicals, they decide to set fire to an office that is supposed to be promoting life, okay, on Mother's Day. Again, it just shows you that these people have no shame, okay? They have no shame whatsoever, and they will go as far as they need to in order to achieve what they want. Okay, be damned to anybody else that might have been in the office. Okay, somebody might have been working there that day. They don't care. They went in there with bad intentions, not caring about what lives may have been lost on that day. They didn't care, right? But what, again, the mainstream liberal media will try to tell you is that what we need to worry about in this country is violence from the right. Okay, that white supremacy is the biggest threat of violence in this country. When time and time again, most of the violence I see in this country, especially political violence, comes from the left. Because even when people on the right protest, people on the right don't do this. You don't see stuff like this happening besides January 6th. But let's take January 6th out of it, because that, in my opinion, is an anomaly compared to what we've seen in regards to when the right protests. For example, guys, how many anti-lockdown and anti-mandate protests have we seen throughout this country all last year? We saw a whole bunch of them, right? Did we ever see an incident like this where anti-lockdown protesters were setting fire to buildings? I don't think we saw that, right? We saw nothing close to what we saw during the Summer of Love from BLM and Antifa during the anti-lockdown / anti-mandate protest. We didn't see anything like that. Now, that's not to say there weren't some acts of violence or that, you know, some people didn't get hurt or whatever. That probably did happen. I mean, that's just what's going to happen when you have these types of protests. But you're not seeing radical extremism like this, right? You're not seeing this type of extremism. But again, every time the left gets upset about an issue and they go out here and they protest, you see acts of violence. You see this type of extremism that is destroying property and costing people their lives. Now, if the roles were reversed here, okay, if it was a different situation in which an anti-abortion activist bombed a Planned Parenthood or something like what happened in 2012, I would come out here and condemn it, right? Even though I don't agree with abortion, I don't necessarily agree with Planned Parenthood, I would say, no, this is wrong. You cannot be out here destroying property and vandalism just because you don't like what this business does. The way to handle it is with your vote, right? It's through legislation. That's the way to deal with the problem, okay? Even though, again, I think that's a moral issue. Any acts of violence, in response to that, I would say, okay, no, that's wrong. But is the Democrat Party going to speak out about this? Now, there's been some Democratic senators and representatives that have spoke out against this specific incident that happened. But it's the Democrat Party as a whole, right? People like Joe Biden, Pelosi, Chuck Schumer. Are they going to come out here and say, you know what, guys? All this extremism, all this trying to intimidate judges, these acts of violence, we have to condemn it, right? It must stop, and that we won't tolerate this, okay? We will send you guys to jail. You will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Will they actually come out here and do that? Probably not, right? They can't even condemn the person that leaked the Supreme Court opinion in the first place. They don't even want to condemn that. They want to focus more on the opinion itself rather than the fact that somebody within the court tried to undermine the sovereignty and integrity of the institution, okay? They don't care about that, right? What they actually really care about is the opinion leaking itself, right? They care more about that than they do the judges being intimidated. They care more about that than the fact that you have pro-life officers that are being set on fire, that people's lives are potentially in danger because of the extremism and radicalism that they tolerate in their own party. But again, they want to lecture Republicans in the right about January 6th. When Democrats have no room to lecture anybody about anything when it comes to political violence and extremism. They have no room whatsoever because they continuously and routinely tolerate this stuff, and then they turn a blind eye to it and act like it doesn't exist, but point the finger at the other side and say, you guys need to clean up your mess. You need to deal with your extremists. When their own party has been responsible for a vast majority of the political violence in this country, basically ever since Trump was elected, okay? And maybe even before that as well, too. Let's be real. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.